All right, so today we're going deep on The Last of Us, but like
Yeah.
maybe not the way you'd think.
Oh, yeah.
We're not, just doing the typical rehatch of the story or whatever.
Right.
Instead, we're going to look at this super interesting academic article.
Okay.
It basically says that the game is like a Gothic story.
Hmm.
Like all crumbling castles and creepy shadows and stuff.
I can see it.
Except instead of castles, it's like skyscrapers, and instead of shadows, it's...
Oh, right. The infected. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because when we think Gothic, we usually picture old castles and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
But if you really break it down, the Gothic is all about decay and isolation and even supernatural stuff.
Right.
And humanity's dark side.
Yeah.
And The Last of Us has all of that in spades.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay, this article is called The Last of Us, a Gothic post-apocalypse.
Did you?
It really digs into all this stuff. It makes a really strong case.
Like what kind of stuff specifically?
Well, okay, so one thing that always got me about the game is the setting.
Yeah.
All those overgrown cities and nature taking over buildings,
Yeah.
It just creates this crazy atmosphere of loss and decay.
It totally does. And that's super Gothic,
Right.
Like all those crumbling ruins and the feeling that time and nature are wiping out everything people built.
Yeah.
It's like those flooded subway tunnels in Pittsburgh or those overgrown suburbs.
Oh, yeah.
They become these modern day ruins haunted by, what used to be there.
Yeah, it's like the past is literally pushing down on the characters.
Right.
Which brings us to another big point from the article.
Okay.
The whole idea that the Last of Us world is haunted by its past.
Haunted by its past.
Yeah, not just with the infected literally, but also in a figurative way.
Oh, I see.
It's not just the visuals, right?
Yeah.
The game uses that environmental storytelling,
Yeah.
Notes and stuff.
Yeah.
And recordings to show us how tragic the outbreak was.
Right.
And the crazy choices people had to make.
It's true.
Those pieces of the past are everywhere.
Yeah.
And it adds to that feeling of sadness and loss.
It totally does. I never thought about it like that, but it makes sense.
Right. Remember that note you find in the hospital basement? The one from the doctor who had to euthanize all his infected patients?
Oh, yeah.
That one stayed with me for days.
Yeah, for sure.
That kind of storytelling really makes the world feel haunted.
Mm-hmm.
Even more than a horde of clickers or something.
Absolutely. And speaking of clickers,
Yeah.
the article says they're Gothic monsters.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, they're creepy as hell.
Yeah, but it's more than just how they look, right?
So what else makes them more than just your average zombie?
Well, think about the psychological effect they have.
Okay.
They're not just physical danger,
Ah.
it's the fear of disease,
Yeah.
of losing your humanity, of becoming something primal and uncontrollable.
Yeah. That's creepy.
That taps into some very deep fears, the kind that align with classic Gothic themes.
That's so true. And the way the game uses sound
Oh, yeah.
to build suspense, like the clicker's echolocation.
Yeah.
And how the music swells when you're in danger.
Oh, man, it gets you every time.
It all adds to that feeling of dread. You
Yeah.
know? You're always on edge and you never know what's around the corner.
Nope.
And then on top of all of that, there's the characters themselves.
Right.
The article really focuses on Joel
Yeah.
and how his grief and trauma drive him.
Yeah, even when he's doing bad stuff.
Right. He's such a complex character.
He is.
His need to protect Ellie, to find some kind of redemption in this messed up world.
Mm-hmm.
It pushes him to do some crazy things.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the things he does are brutal,
Totally.
but you still get where he's coming from.
It's true, and that's what's so good about the storytelling.
Right.
It makes you think about these hard questions, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
about survival and loss and what it means to be human
Yeah.
in a world that's lost its humanity.
Right. It's not just good guys versus bad guys.
No, not at all.
It's so much more than that.
It is.
So after reading this article and thinking about all the Gothic stuff,
Yeah.
it's I'm seeing the game in a whole new light.
Oh, yeah.
It made me realize The Last of Us is way more than just a post-apocalyptic survival story.
Exactly. It's about loss and the weight of the past.
Right.
And the monsters inside us as much as the ones we face out in the world.
Right. That's why it hits people so hard, I think.
It really makes you think.
So if you're listening,
Yeah.
I dare you to go back and play The Last of Us.
Okay.
But this time, look at it through this Gothic lens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay attention to the details and the atmosphere and why the characters do what they do.
Good advice.
You might be surprised by what you find.
For sure.